All right, let's jump right in. Today we're talking about a weapon that sounds like something out of science fiction, but not because of its power, because of its price tag. We're going to explore how one missile from China could be about to rewrite the entire global rulebook of military power.
So let me ask you something. When you hear the term hypersonic missile, a weapon that screams through the air at more than 5 times the speed of sound, what kind of price do you imagine? Millions, maybe tens of millions of dollars?
Well, you'd be spot on. This right here is the American AGM-183 ARW. It comes in at nearly $15 million for just one missile. And for the most advanced military tech, that's pretty much the standard price of entry. Or at least it used to be. Now, look at this number, $99,000. No, that is not a typo. For less than what you'd pay for a high-end electric car, China has apparently built a hypersonic missile. This one single fact, it changes absolutely everything, and it's what we're digging into today.
So what exactly is this weapon? Well, it's called the YKJ-1000, and it has this kind of weird nickname, the cement-coated missile.
And here's what's really wild. This isn't some top-secret state-run program. It was developed by a private company. And apparently it's already in full-blown mass production. Now, don't let that price tag fool you into thinking this thing is a slouch. We're talking Mach 7. That's over 5,000 miles per hour. Just insane. It's what's called a hypersonic glide vehicle, which means after its initial boost, it glides unpredictably towards its target, making it incredibly difficult to shoot down. Its range covers critical strategic zones in the Indo-Pacific. And maybe the scariest part, it can be launched from a totally normal-looking shipping container on the back of a truck. Basically, almost impossible to find before it's too late.
All right, so the big question, right? How on earth is this possible? How do you build a genuine superweapon for the price of a sedan? The answer isn't just about saving money, it's about a totally different way of thinking about engineering. Okay, so this is where that cement-coated nickname comes in. To deal with the incredible heat of hypersonic flight, instead of using super expensive, exotic alloys, they used a special kind of foamed concrete for insulation. The rest of the missile is just as clever. They literally just grabbed parts off the shelf from the commercial drone market and used reliable, mass-produced electronics you'd find in the automotive industry.
So you see, this really gets to the heart of it. This isn't about slapping together a cheap, shoddy weapon. It's about being smart, leveraging reliable civilian tech to get military-grade results. It turns the whole idea of mass production from a huge financial problem into a massive strategic weapon. Okay, let's get into the dollars and cents, because this is where the picture gets really, really unbalanced. Almost hard to believe, actually. Just look at these numbers side by side. It's just staggering. America's ARRW, almost 15 million. Russia's Avangard could be up to 20 million. Even the more affordable American Mach is still over $1 million a pop. The UKJ-1000 isn't even in the same ballpark. It's playing a completely different sport. And this chart, man, this just says it all. The bar for the YKJ-1000 is, well, you can barely even see it next to the others. We're not talking about an incremental improvement here. This is a fundamental, ground-shaking disruption of how advanced weapons are valued. But here's where this goes from being a clever piece of engineering to something genuinely terrifying. Let's look at the cost to attack versus the cost to defend. To stop one of these $99,000 missiles, the US might fire an SM-6 interceptor. That interceptor costs over $4 million. Think about that. That's a cost disadvantage of more than 40 to 1 for the person trying to defend themselves. In this scenario, an attacker doesn't need a better missile. They just need more of them. They can launch waves of these things, knowing that every single one the defender manages to shoot down is a huge win for them financially, until eventually you just run out of those expensive interceptors. So, what does a world like this actually look like? What happens when superweapons suddenly become not just accessible, but affordable? Well, defense experts are, frankly, sounding the alarm. They're warning this could democratize hypersonic tech. For decades, only a handful of global superpowers could even dream of wielding this kind of weapon. That whole era might be coming to an end. Fast. The strategic ripple effects are massive. In the Pacific, it's already being called a first island chain buster, a tool designed to overwhelm key American and allied defenses. It puts Western nations in a terrible position, forcing them into an arms race where the economics are stacked against them. We've already seen how cheap combat drones completely changed the game in places like Ukraine. This feels like that, but on a much bigger, faster scale.
And you can bet China isn't planning on keeping this to themselves. Their own state media is already talking it up as a hot commodity for the export market. Just imagine this capability ending up in the hands of smaller countries, or rogue states, or, well, anyone. The potential for chaos is enormous.
And that really brings us to the big, unsettling question at the heart of all this. For generations, we've kind of assumed that the insane cost of the deadliest weapons created a weird kind of stability. But what happens when that financial wall comes crumbling down? If a superweapon costs about the same as a luxury car, is anyone anywhere on the planet really safe anymore?